Life today feels like a constant storm, endless notifications, mounting responsibilities, and unexpected challenges hitting us from every direction. It's no wonder so many of us struggle to find a sense of calm. But as Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This simple yet profound idea lies at the heart of Stoicism, a philosophy that has guided people through the chaos of life for over 2,000 years. In this video, we'll explore how you can apply 15 timeless Stoic strategies to stay grounded and composed, no matter how turbulent the world around you becomes. Each insight is practical, actionable, and designed to help you build resilience and peace in your daily life. So, if you're ready to take control of your inner world and navigate life's chaos with clarity and strength, let's get started. One of the most powerful ideas in Stoicism, and the perfect place to start, is the dichotomy of control. At its core, this principle is about mastering the art of discernment, knowing what is within your control, and just as importantly, what isn't. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it plainly, some things are up to us and some things are not. By learning to focus only on what we can control, we free ourselves from unnecessary frustration and stress over things we simply cannot change. Think about it for a moment, how much of your daily energy is spent worrying about things completely outside of your influence. Maybe it's the outcome of a project at work, the opinion someone else has of you, or even the weather ruining your weekend plans. It's human nature to fixate on these things, but when we do, we're giving away our peace of mind to forces beyond our reach. Stoicism teaches us to stop and ask a simple question: is this something I control? Let's break it down. According to the Stoics, there are only two categories of things in life: those we have direct control over and those we don't. What can we control? Our actions, our thoughts, our responses, and our values. These are the areas where we hold power, where change and influence are possible. On the flip side, we have no control over external events, things like other people's behavior, the economy, or what happened in the past. The more we try to dominate or fix these uncontrollable elements, the more futile and exhausting life becomes. Now, let's make this practical. Imagine you're stuck in traffic on your way to an important appointment. The cars around you are moving at a crawl, and you can feel your anxiety rising. In a situation like this, the dichotomy of control can be a lifesaver. You can't control the traffic, it's going to be there whether you like it or not. But what you can control is your attitude toward it. Instead of spiraling into anger and stress, you could choose to accept the situation as it is. Maybe take the opportunity to listen to a favorite podcast, reflect on your day, or simply practice some deep breathing. The traffic isn't the problem, it's how you respond to it that determines your state of mind. This principle applies to much bigger challenges as well. Let's say you're dealing with a conflict at work. You can't control how your colleague behaves or whether everyone will agree with you. But you can control how you present yourself, how calmly you explain your position, and how much effort you put into resolving the issue constructively. By focusing on what is within your power, you'll not only be more effective, but you'll also feel more in control, even in a challenging situation. This strategy requires practice, of course. It's not always easy to let go of our need to control the uncontrollable. But as you start to apply this idea, you'll notice something remarkable. By directing your energy toward the things you can influence, your thoughts, your choices, your actions, you'll feel lighter, more grounded, and less at the mercy of life's chaos. Take a moment to reflect. Where are you focusing your energy right now? Are you stressing over things outside of your hands, or are you cultivating strength within yourself? By embracing the dichotomy of control, you begin to reclaim your power and shift your focus to what truly matters. And just like that, you're one step closer to cultivating the calm and clarity that Stoicism has to offer. What if preparing for the worst could actually make you calmer? It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? In a world where we're often told to think positive and focus on the best-case scenario, the Stoics offer a radically different approach: negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum as Seneca called it. This practice involves deliberately imagining worst-case scenarios, but not to dwell on them or make yourself miserable. Instead, it's a tool to face life's uncertainties with greater confidence and peace of mind. Here's how it works. By imagining potential setbacks, you mentally prepare yourself for adversity before it happens. It's not about pessimism or expecting bad things to happen. It's about building resilience. When you confront your fears head-on in your mind, you strip them of their power. You realize that even if the worst were to occur, you could handle it. And often, you find that the worst-case scenario isn't as catastrophic as your anxiety makes it seem. Imagine this: you have an important presentation at work coming up, something that could impact your career. Naturally, you're nervous, maybe even overwhelmed. What if you stumble over your words? What if your ideas are criticized? Instead of suppressing these fears or letting them spiral, negative visualization invites you to explore them intentionally. Picture the scene. You forget a key point during the presentation. What would you do? Maybe you take a deep breath, apologize briefly, glance at your notes, and keep going. Or imagine your proposal isn't well received. What then? Perhaps it's an opportunity to gather feedback, improve your ideas, and try again. By walking through these scenarios mentally, you're not surrendering to fear, you're preparing yourself to respond calmly and effectively. Seneca eloquently described this practice, saying, "Rehearse worst-case scenarios in your mind: exile, torture, war, shipwreck. All the terms of human misfortune should run through your mind." You will never be rattled by a future that you have prepared for in advance. While most of us aren't dealing with shipwrecks or torture today, the principle holds. When you allow yourself to consider life's challenges before they arise, you build a kind of mental armor. The unknown becomes less intimidating because you've already faced it in your mind. But let's take this concept into everyday life. Suppose you're about to have a difficult conversation with a friend or loved one, a discussion you know might be emotionally charged. Instead of avoiding the discomfort, apply premeditatio malorum . Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Maybe the person gets upset or doesn't agree with you. What would you say in that moment? How could you remain calm and compassionate? By rehearsing these outcomes, you'll feel less blindsided if things don't go perfectly. And ironically, being mentally prepared for the worst often makes it less likely to happen. Your calm, collected approach can influence the entire interaction. The beauty of this practice is that it does more than prepare you for challenges. It helps you appreciate what you already have. When you picture losing something like a job, a relationship, or even your health, you realize how much you value it. This gratitude infuses your day-to-day life, making you more mindful of your blessings and less likely to take them for granted. Negative visualization isn't about dwelling on disaster or living in fear. It's about reclaiming your power over life's uncertainties. When you've considered the worst, you no longer feel controlled by the unknown. Instead, you walk into every situation with clarity, strength, and the assurance that no matter what happens, you'll be ready. So ask yourself, what challenge in your life could you prepare for with this practice? And how might imagining the worst actually free you to live more calmly and intentionally? Another profound Stoic strategy that can transform the way you approach life's chaos is Amor Fati, which translates to love your fate. At first, this idea might seem strange or even radical. Why would anyone love their fate, especially when it brings hardship or uncertainty? But Amor Fati is more than just accepting what happens to you. It's about embracing it wholeheartedly, even when life doesn't go the way you planned. This concept is rooted in the teachings of the Stoics, who believed that everything in life, whether we perceive it as good or bad, is necessary and interconnected. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of Stoicism's greatest thinkers, captured this mindset perfectly when he wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." In other words, Amor Fati encourages us to see every event, no matter how unexpected or challenging, as fuel for our growth and character. When we choose to love our fate, we stop resisting reality and start finding meaning and opportunity in everything. Let's explore how this plays out in real life. Imagine a scenario where you're unexpectedly laid off from your job. The initial reaction might be frustration, fear, or even anger. These feelings are natural, but they can trap you in a cycle of resistance, wishing the situation were different or blaming external factors for your misfortune. Amor Fati offers a different path. Instead of resenting what happened, you could approach it with a mindset of curiosity and acceptance. What can I learn from this? How can this challenge push me towards something better? Perhaps the layoff gives you the chance to pursue a career path you've always dreamed of but never had the courage to take. Or maybe it's an opportunity to build new skills and connections that will serve you in unexpected ways. By loving your fate, you turn adversity into opportunity. This mindset can also be applied to smaller, everyday challenges. Think of a time when your plans were disrupted, say, a cancelled flight or a sudden change in your schedule. Your first instinct might be to feel annoyed or upset, but Amor Fati reminds us that these moments are part of life's natural flow. Instead of fighting against them, you can choose to embrace them. Maybe the delay gives you extra time to spend with a loved one or read that book you've been meaning to finish. When you stop resisting what's out of your control, you open yourself up to a sense of peace and even gratitude. Loving your fate doesn't mean you have to enjoy every difficulty or pretend that challenges aren't painful. What it does mean is shifting your perspective so that instead of seeing obstacles as unfair or meaningless, you view them as necessary ingredients in your life's journey. The Stoics believed that every event, no matter how small or significant, plays a role in shaping who we are. By embracing this idea, you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "How can I use this to grow?" The practice of Amor Fati is a reminder that life is not something to be controlled or resisted. It's something to be lived fully with all its unpredictability. When you align yourself with the flow of events, you free yourself from the constant battle against reality, replacing frustration with acceptance and even joy. So, the next time life throws you a curveball, ask yourself, what if this is exactly what I needed? By choosing to love your fate, you transform life's uncertainties into opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Why would anyone willingly make life harder? It might seem counterproductive, especially when comfort and convenience are more accessible than ever. But the Stoics believed that intentionally stepping into discomfort could cultivate resilience, strength, and gratitude, qualities that help us stay grounded when life inevitably becomes challenging. This practice is known as voluntary discomfort, and it's as relevant today as it was over 2,000 years ago. Seneca, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, often spoke of practicing discomfort as a way to prepare for life's uncertainties. In one of his letters, he described the habit of periodically living as though he were poor, eating the simplest meals, wearing rough clothing, and sleeping on the ground. These exercises weren't about punishing himself or rejecting joy. Rather, they were about training his mind and body to handle hardship. Seneca wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" By doing so, he realized that what seemed terrifying in theory, poverty, discomfort, or scarcity, was actually manageable in reality. This practice serves two powerful purposes. First, it builds psychological and physical resilience. When you regularly expose yourself to controlled discomfort, you develop the strength to endure unexpected hardships. For example, if you've practiced fasting, missing a meal due to a chaotic day won't throw you off balance. If you've spent time without luxuries, you won't panic if life temporarily takes them away. Second, voluntary discomfort fosters gratitude. When you return to your normal life after experiencing even small, intentional discomforts, you develop a deeper appreciation for things you might otherwise take for granted, like a warm bed, a full meal, or the comfort of your home. Now, how does this idea translate to modern life? You don't need to live like a Stoic philosopher in ancient Rome to practice voluntary discomfort. Small, intentional acts of stepping outside your comfort zone can have a powerful impact. For instance, consider going on a technology break, spending a day or even a few hours without your smartphone, computer, or streaming services. At first, you might feel restless or even anxious, but over time, these breaks can reconnect you with the world around you and remind you that you don't need constant digital stimulation to feel content. Another example could be taking on physical challenges like cold showers or fitness routines that push your limits. Cold showers, for instance, are an excellent way to practice discomfort in a controlled, manageable way. They're unpleasant in the moment, but over time, they train you to embrace challenges instead of avoiding them. The same goes for fitness challenges like running in the rain or lifting heavier weights than you're used to. These practices teach your body and mind to work through discomfort, making you tougher and more adaptable in the face of life's inevitable struggles. Even something as simple as simplifying your meals can be a meaningful act of voluntary discomfort. Try eating plain, unseasoned foods for a few days or skipping your morning coffee. These small exercises not only help you realize how little you truly need to feel nourished, but also make you savor the full flavors of your regular meals afterward. The key is to be intentional and consistent. Voluntary discomfort isn't about dramatic sacrifices or living a perpetually hard life. Instead, it's about building mental and emotional muscles that prepare you for adversity while deepening your gratitude for the everyday comforts you enjoy. The next time life throws a challenge your way, whether it's a financial setback, a health issue, or a difficult transition, you'll be better equipped to handle it calmly and gracefully because you've already trained for it. So, what small discomfort could you practice this week? Could you unplug from technology for an evening, take a cold shower, or skip your favorite treat? These simple acts might seem minor, but they can build resilience in ways that surprise you. By practicing voluntary discomfort, you're not making life harder, you're making yourself stronger. Imagine this: you've just been passed over for a promotion at work. You poured months of effort into proving yourself, working late nights, taking on extra responsibilities, and yet the opportunity slipped through your fingers. It's disheartening, even maddening. For many, this moment might feel like a roadblock, a sign to give up or question their self-worth. But what if this wasn't the end of the road? What if instead it could mark the beginning of something better? This mindset is central to the Stoic practice of reframing adversity, seeing obstacles not as barriers but as opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, articulated this idea beautifully in his Meditations. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In simpler terms, the very challenges that block your path can, with the right perspective, become the path itself. Let's revisit the example of the missed promotion. While it's easy to focus on the disappointment, reframing the situation could open your eyes to opportunities. Perhaps being overlooked prompts you to reflect on areas where you can improve, developing new skills, refining your communication, or building stronger professional relationships. Maybe this setback motivates you to explore other roles, uncovering an even better fit for your talents and ambitions. Or it could push you to start your own venture, channeling your energy into something entirely new and fulfilling. The obstacle that seemed so final becomes a springboard for transformation. This isn't about ignoring the pain or frustration that comes with setbacks. Those feelings are valid and human. Instead, reframing involves choosing not to remain stuck in that initial reaction. It's about training your mind to ask, what can I learn from this? How can I grow because of this? When you reframe adversity, you shift from passivity, seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance, to action, where you reclaim your power to respond purposefully. The Stoics were masters at this practice. Marcus Aurelius himself faced immense challenges as emperor: wars, plagues, political betrayals. Yet, instead of being overwhelmed by these difficulties, he saw them as opportunities to practice virtues like patience, courage, and wisdom. Each challenge was a chance to grow stronger, both as a leader and as a person. His writings remind us that obstacles aren't inherently good or bad. It's our perception of them that shapes their impact on us. You can apply this mindset to virtually any setback. Let's say you're struggling with a personal goal, like learning a new skill or improving your health, and progress feels painfully slow. Instead of viewing the struggle as a sign of failure, try reframing it. Every stumble is teaching you something valuable, whether it's patience, discipline, or the importance of adjusting your approach. The obstacle isn't stopping you, it's shaping you. Or consider situations in relationships. Maybe a close friend has let you down, leaving you hurt and angry. While the initial reaction might be to hold on to resentment, reframing the situation could reveal an opportunity to practice forgiveness or set healthier boundaries. The experience, though painful, helps you grow into a stronger, more self-aware individual. To make this practice part of your life, try this. When faced with a setback, pause. Acknowledge your initial reaction, but don't get stuck there. Then ask yourself, what opportunity does this present? How can I turn this challenge into something that serves me? At first, it might feel forced or unnatural, but over time, reframing becomes a powerful habit. It rewires your mind to see challenges not as threats but as tools for your personal evolution. The truth is, life will always throw obstacles your way. You can't control that. But what you can control is the way you see them, and that makes all the difference. The next time you're faced with adversity, remember Marcus Aurelius's words, "What stands in the way becomes the way." With this mindset, every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow, adapt, and move forward stronger than before. How often do you find yourself replaying moments from the past, regretting something you said or wishing you had done things differently? Or maybe you're caught imagining the future, worrying about what might happen and crafting endless scenarios in your mind. It's easy to get stuck in this mental tug of war between the past and the future, but the irony is, life is only happening right here in the present moment. This is where the Stoics direct our attention with the simple but transformative practice of present moment awareness. For the Stoics, this wasn't just a philosophical ideal, it was a way of living. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, often emphasized the importance of aligning our lives with nature. By this, he didn't mean wandering into the woods or disconnecting from society, but rather living in harmony with the natural flow of time. And what is more natural than right now? After all, the past is gone and the future hasn't arrived. The only real moment we ever live in is the present. So why do we spend so little time actually being here? It's not hard to see how this wisdom applies to modern life. Think about how much of our stress and anxiety comes from overthinking. You might worry about an upcoming meeting, imagining everything that could go wrong, or you replay a conversation from yesterday, scrutinizing every word. The Stoics remind us that this mental noise distracts us from the task and the peace right in front of us. When we dwell on the past or obsess about the future, we not only rob ourselves of the present, but we also exhaust our minds over things that ultimately lie outside our control. The past is fixed, the future uncertain, but the present, that's where we have agency. So how do we anchor ourselves in the present moment, especially when life feels chaotic or overwhelming? One of the most accessible tools is something as simple as your breath. When you're feeling stressed or your mind is racing, pause. Take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and exhale slowly. Notice how this instantly brings you back into your body and into the here and now. Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. This practice of focusing on the breath is one way to reclaim that power. It grounds you, reminding you that right now, in this moment, you're okay. Let's look at a practical example. Imagine you're running late for an important appointment. Your mind starts spiraling into panic mode. What if I miss it? What will they think? This is a disaster. And suddenly, your stress is through the roof. In that moment, the Stoic approach would be to pause, take a few deep breaths, and ask yourself what you can control. Can you fly through traffic? No. But you can focus on driving safely and calmly, making the best of the situation. By grounding yourself in the present, you replace the chaos of overthinking with clarity and calm. This practice of present moment awareness also helps us appreciate life's simple, often overlooked joys. When you're fully present, your morning coffee isn't just something to gulp down as you rush out the door. It's a moment to savor the warmth, the aroma, the ritual. A conversation with a loved one becomes more meaningful when you're not distracted by your phone or preoccupied with what's next. These small acts of mindfulness make life feel richer and more connected. Ultimately, the Stoic focus on the present moment isn't about ignoring the past or future. It's about recognizing where your power lies. You can acknowledge your past without being trapped by it and plan for the future without obsessing over it. But your energy, your focus, and your life should be centered on what you're doing right now. So the next time you find yourself lost in thought about what was or what might be, stop and take a breath. Ask yourself, what's happening right here? What action can I take now? Because it's in this very moment where your strength resides, and as the Stoics teach us, this is more than enough. How often do we find ourselves chasing approval from others, shaping our decisions, words, or even personalities based on what we think will win us praise? Maybe it's the thrill of getting likes on social media, the need to hear compliments from colleagues, or even the quiet hope that our friends or family will notice and validate our efforts. It's a common pattern, and yet, the Stoics remind us that seeking external validation is like putting your happiness in someone else's hands. What happens when the likes stop, the compliments don't come, or the approval you've worked so hard for is withheld? Suddenly, your sense of worth crumbles, all because it's built on factors you can't control. Marcus Aurelius offers an antidote to this in his Meditations, where he repeatedly urges us to value our own inner virtue over the fleeting opinions of others. He wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This statement cuts to the heart of the problem. If we care more about being admired than being good, we lose sight of what truly matters: our character, our principles, and the things we control. The Stoics believed that true freedom lies in detaching from the opinions of others. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback or refusing to listen to others entirely. Instead, it's about not tying your sense of self-worth to something as unpredictable and ever-changing as public approval. After all, people's opinions are shaped by their own biases, values, and experiences, things that have nothing to do with who you really are. When you let these opinions dictate your actions, you become like a ship tossed around by every wave, never charting your own course. To make this idea more tangible, let's look at a scenario. Imagine you've worked tirelessly on a project, pouring in hours of effort and creativity. You're proud of what you've accomplished and feel it's some of your best work. But when you present it, the reception is lukewarm. Your boss seems indifferent and your colleagues barely comment. For many, this would feel like a crushing blow. After all, isn't praise the ultimate sign of success? But here's where Stoic wisdom steps in. Instead of seeing this as failure, the Stoics would encourage you to ask, did I give my best? Did I uphold my values, stay true to what's important, and act with integrity? If the answer is yes, then their reaction doesn't diminish your effort or the quality of your work. You've succeeded by your own standards, and that's what matters most. To help detach from the need for external validation, the Stoics encourage us to focus on cultivating inner excellence, virtues like kindness, courage, honesty, and discipline. Unlike external opinions, these are entirely within our control. When you anchor your sense of self-worth in your own values and principles, you'll find that criticism stings less and praise doesn't inflate your ego. You become steady, grounded, and self-assured because your worth is no longer up for debate. If you're wondering how to practice this in daily life, a good starting point is to reflect on your motivations. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is it because I believe it's the right thing to do, or because I want someone else's approval? This simple question can help you uncover whether your actions are driven by internal character or external validation. Another helpful habit is to periodically evaluate how much power you're giving to others' opinions. For example, the next time you find yourself seeking compliments or approval, pause and remind yourself, their opinion doesn't define me. What matters is whether I'm proud of how I've acted. Of course, letting go of the need for validation isn't easy. It's something even the Stoics acknowledged. But the more you focus on living in alignment with your own values, the freer you become. You stop chasing the impossible task of pleasing everyone and start living a life grounded in what truly matters, the strength of your character. So the next time you find yourself craving approval, take a moment to step back. Ask yourself, am I living for their opinions or for my own principles? Marcus Aurelius's wisdom reminds us that real peace comes from within, and no applause is louder or more meaningful than the quiet pride you feel when you've chosen what's right over what's popular. When life feels chaotic and your thoughts are swirling in a dozen directions, have you ever considered that the simple act of writing could bring some calm and clarity? The Stoics certainly did. Journaling wasn't just a habit for them, it was a cornerstone of their philosophy and a daily practice that helped them confront life's challenges with wisdom and composure. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoics, used journaling as a way to reflect on his thoughts, his actions, and his role in the universe. What's remarkable is that his private reflections, written solely for his own clarity, are now what we know as *meditations*, a timeless work that continues to guide people through life's turbulence. So, why is journaling such a powerful tool for Stoics, and how can you use it to stay calm during the chaos of life? First and foremost, journaling helps you untangle the knots in your mind. Thoughts can feel overwhelming when they're buzzing around in your head, but putting them on paper forces you to slow down and organize them. It's a way of stepping back, gaining perspective, and seeing your situation more clearly. For the Stoics, this act was deeply intentional. Journaling wasn't about venting emotions or writing aimlessly. It was about engaging with your thoughts in a meaningful way to better understand yourself and the world around you. Here's how you can bring this practice into your own life with actionable steps. Start by dedicating a few quiet minutes each morning, or perhaps in the evening if that works better for you, to journal. Think of it as a conversation with yourself. In the morning, reflect on the day ahead. What are your goals? What challenges might arise, and how can you meet them with calm and strength? A question you might write and respond to in your journal could be, what is within my control today, and how can I act with intention? This practice, inspired by Stoicism, helps you start the day grounded and focused rather than being swept up in the noise of external demands. In the evening, use your journal to look back on the day. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on his actions each night, evaluating whether he had lived according to his values. You might ask yourself, did I make choices today that align with the person I want to be? Where did I fall short, and what can I do differently tomorrow? This isn't about beating yourself up for mistakes, but about learning from them and striving to improve. Let's talk about how journaling can specifically help you maintain calm in moments of chaos. When you're overwhelmed, whether by stress at work, a difficult relationship, or just the general unpredictability of life, grab your journal and write about what's happening. Start by describing the situation as objectively as possible. What are the facts? Then explore your feelings around it. What's causing your anxiety or frustration? Finally, bring in the Stoic perspective. Ask yourself, what part of this situation is in my control, and how can I respond in alignment with my values? These questions not only help you calm your mind, but also guide you toward thoughtful, intentional action instead of impulsive reactions. For example, imagine you've had an argument with a friend and the tension is weighing heavily on you. Journaling could help you process the situation by writing, what exactly triggered the argument? Was I acting out of frustration, or was I responding with thoughtfulness and kindness? From there, you might reflect, what can I do to resolve this in a way that reflects the person I want to be? This simple act of writing creates space for self-awareness, helping you approach the situation with clarity and calm rather than letting emotions dictate your next move. The beauty of journaling is that it's adaptable. Whether you write a paragraph or a page, whether you use a notebook or type on your phone, the act itself is what matters. Over time, you'll notice that this practice not only helps you navigate life's challenges, but also deepens your understanding of yourself. It's a way to center your thoughts, realign with your values, and remind yourself of the wisdom that comes from within. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed by the noise of your own mind, consider picking up a pen. Journal as the Stoics did, not for perfection, but for clarity, reflection, and growth. A blank page might just become your most powerful tool to cultivate peace amid the chaos. Have you ever paused to truly acknowledge how temporary everything in life is? It's a thought many of us push away, as if reflecting on our mortality might somehow make it come sooner. But the Stoics embraced this idea wholeheartedly, believing it held the key to living deeply and intentionally. They called this practice Memento Mori, which translates to remember you must die. At first glance, this might sound unsettling or even morbid, but in reality, it's the opposite. Memento Mori is not about fear, it's about clarity and liberation. It's a reminder to focus on what truly matters and to live each day with gratitude and purpose. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about the fleeting nature of life. In one of his letters, he said, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time." These words aren't meant to make us feel like life is slipping away too quickly. Instead, they encourage us to make the most of the time we have by living fully in the present, rather than wasting it on trivial worries or future uncertainties. Imagine this: you wake up tomorrow morning and take a moment to reflect on Memento Mori. You remind yourself, this day is not guaranteed. This moment I'm in right now will never come again. Suddenly, the rush to scroll through your phone, the irritation at minor inconveniences, or the temptation to procrastinate your dreams feels less important. Instead, you might savor your morning coffee, take a deep breath and appreciate the sunrise, or reach out to a loved one to tell them how much they mean to you. This is the power of Memento Mori. It doesn't depress you, it sharpens your focus and brings your attention to the things in life that truly matter. One of the most liberating aspects of accepting impermanence is how it helps us let go of unnecessary attachments. When we reflect on how temporary everything is, our possessions, our achievements, even our own struggles, we begin to see them in perspective. That promotion you didn't get, it won't matter in the grand scheme of things. The mistake you made last week, it's likely forgotten, a mere blip in the timeline of your life. Even the conflicts and stressors that feel overwhelming today lose their grip when viewed through the lens of impermanence. We realize that life is too short to hold onto grudges, dwell on regrets, or waste time chasing meaningless distractions. Memento Mori also invites us to cultivate gratitude. When you remember that life is temporary, even the simplest moments become gifts. The laughter of a loved one, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the privilege of simply being alive, all of these become more vivid, more meaningful. Gratitude, in this way, isn't just a fleeting emotion. It becomes a mindset, a way of living each day with open eyes and an open heart. So how can you incorporate Memento Mori into your daily life? One simple way is to take a few minutes each day to reflect on your mortality, not as something to fear, but as a gentle reminder to align your actions with your values. You can think about questions like, if today were my last day, how would I want to spend it? What would I want to focus on? Who would I want to connect with? This practice doesn't mean abandoning your responsibilities or living recklessly. It means living with intention. Another approach is to keep a physical reminder of Memento Mori nearby, like a small piece of art or an object that symbolizes impermanence. These subtle cues can help you stay grounded in the present moment. The Stoics understood that life's impermanence isn't something to run from, it's a truth to embrace. When you accept that everything, including your own life, is temporary, you stop taking your days for granted. You start to live with urgency, not the kind that breeds stress, but the kind that fills you with purpose. Remember, Memento Mori isn't about fearing death, it's about making the most of life. So, as you go about your day, ask yourself, what would change if you lived fully aware that this moment won't last forever? Because in that awareness lies the secret to a calmer, richer, and more meaningful life. At the very heart of Stoicism lies a simple yet profound idea: to live a good life, focus on cultivating virtue. For the Stoics, virtues aren't abstract ideals or lofty, unattainable goals. They're practical, guiding principles that help you navigate life's inevitable chaos with clarity and integrity. Courage, temperance, wisdom, and justice, these four cardinal virtues are the foundation of Stoic philosophy, and they provide a steady compass, especially when the world around you feels uncertain or overwhelming. Let's explore why these virtues matter so much and, more importantly, how they can guide you through turbulent times. First, let's talk about courage. When life throws challenges your way, courage is what allows you to face them head-on. It's not about being fearless. Fear is natural. It's about choosing to act despite fear. Imagine finding yourself in a situation where you have to stand up for something you believe in, even though it might be unpopular or come with personal risks. For instance, speaking out against an unethical practice at work could feel daunting, but courage pushes you to prioritize integrity over comfort. It's what allows you to hold firm in the face of adversity, knowing that your actions align with your values. The Stoics remind us that courage isn't limited to grand, heroic acts. It's also found in smaller, everyday moments, having the courage to apologize, to try something new, or to persevere through a difficult situation. Next is temperance, which is the virtue of self-control and moderation. In a world that constantly pulls us in different directions, encouraging excess, indulgence, and impulsivity, temperance is what keeps us grounded. It gives us the ability to restrain ourselves when emotions like anger, greed, or desire threaten to take over. For example, imagine you're in the midst of a heated argument. Your instinct might be to lash out, unleashing anger to win the exchange. But temperance teaches you to pause, take a breath, and respond with measured words rather than reactive emotion. It's what allows you to resist instant gratification in favor of long-term growth, whether that's saving money instead of spending it recklessly or choosing a healthy meal over junk food when stress tempts you otherwise. Through temperance, you find balance and avoid being swept away by extremes. Then there's wisdom, perhaps the virtue most closely associated with Stoicism. Wisdom is the ability to use reason and discernment to make thoughtful decisions, even when chaos surrounds you. It asks you to look beyond surface-level emotions or assumptions and focus on what's true, what's important, and what's within your control. Imagine you're navigating a crisis, maybe a major financial setback or a sudden health scare. Wisdom is what helps you step back and evaluate the situation rationally. What are the facts here? What actions can I take? How can I approach this constructively? The Stoics believed that life's hardships are made far worse by reacting irrationally or letting emotions cloud our judgment. Wisdom helps you avoid those pitfalls, enabling you to respond with clarity and purpose. Finally, let's consider justice, the virtue that ties all the others together. Justice is about fairness, integrity, and doing what is right not just for yourself but for others. It reminds us that we're part of a larger community and that our actions affect those around us. In times of chaos, justice asks, how can I contribute to the greater good? How can I act in a way that upholds fairness and kindness? For example, think about how justice might come into play during a disaster or crisis. While fear and self-preservation might push people to act selfishly, justice encourages you to help others, to assist a neighbor, share resources, or support those who are struggling. For the Stoics, justice wasn't optional. It was a moral duty to act with integrity toward others, even in the most trying circumstances. What's powerful about these four virtues is how interconnected they are. Courage without wisdom can lead to recklessness. Temperance without justice can turn into cold detachment. Each virtue strengthens and balances the others, creating a solid foundation for living a life of purpose and resilience. They're not just abstract concepts, they're tools you can apply daily to navigate life's storms with strength and grace. So the next time you find yourself in a chaotic situation, think of these virtues as your anchor. Ask yourself, what does courage look like here? How can I exercise temperance? What does wisdom tell me is the best course of action? And how can I strive for justice in this moment? By cultivating these virtues, you not only bring stability to your inner world, but you also contribute to creating a better, more compassionate world around you. After all, as the Stoics believed, virtue isn't just the path to withstanding chaos, it's the path to true fulfillment. What if the secret to staying calm in life's most intense moments lies in something as simple as a single breath? It sounds almost too easy, doesn't it? But this is exactly what the Stoics teach us with the practice of pausing before reacting, a strategy that can completely transform the way we handle emotional situations. Life is full of moments that push our buttons, a sharp comment from a coworker, an unexpected criticism from a friend, or even something trivial like someone cutting in front of us in line. Our first instinct might be to snap back, defend ourselves, or let anger bubble over. But the Stoics remind us that it's not the event itself that causes us distress, it's our reaction to it. And the good news, our reactions are fully within our control. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is where the power of pausing comes into play. By taking a moment to step back before reacting, we give ourselves the space to respond with intention rather than letting emotions drive us into impulsive actions. Think of it like this: your immediate emotional reaction is like a spark. If you act on it without pause, it can quickly escalate into a flame, causing unnecessary damage to yourself, your relationships, or the situation at hand. But if you pause, even for just a moment, you can prevent the spark from catching fire. One simple yet effective way to practice pausing is through something as basic as counting to 10. Imagine you've received an email at work that feels unnecessarily harsh or critical. Your first instinct might be to fire off an equally sharp response, defending yourself or pointing out the flaws in the sender's message. But instead of reacting immediately, take a breath and count slowly to 10. This brief pause interrupts your emotional surge and gives you a moment to think. What's the best way to handle this? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my values rather than my frustration? You might realize that the email isn't as personal as it seemed, or that a calm, measured response will be far more productive than an emotional one. Another practice the Stoics would recommend is journaling your frustrations before taking action. Suppose you're upset after an argument with a friend. Instead of calling them back immediately while emotions are still running high, grab a piece of paper or open your journal. Write down exactly what you're feeling: anger, hurt, confusion, and what triggered it. By putting your feelings into words, you'll often find that the intensity of the emotion diminishes. You might even gain new insights into the situation, realizing that your friend's comment wasn't as malicious as it first seemed, or identifying a way to address the issue calmly. Journaling acts as a buffer, helping you process your thoughts before they spill out in a way you might later regret. Pausing before reacting isn't just about avoiding conflict or minimizing damage, it's about reclaiming your power. When you react impulsively, you're essentially handing control over to your emotions. But when you pause, you take that control back. You choose how to respond rather than being a puppet to anger, frustration, or fear. Let's bring it back to the Stoics. They viewed impulse control not as a weakness, but as a profound strength to them. Mastering your reactions was a key part of living a virtuous life. Pausing allows you to respond with wisdom, courage, and fairness, all virtues the Stoics held dear. It's a small habit, but its impact is enormous. Think about how much calmer your life could feel if you approached each challenge, not with an immediate reaction, but with a moment of stillness and reflection. So, the next time you feel the urge to react, whether it's to a rude comment, frustrating circumstance, or even a personal failure, stop, take a single breath. Count to 10, write down your thoughts. Whatever method works for you, give yourself the gift of a pause. As Epictetus would say, it's not the event itself that matters, it's your reaction. And with that pause, you'll gain the clarity and calmness to respond in a way you can be proud of. Picture this: you've been working tirelessly on a big project, maybe a presentation at work, training for a marathon, or even preparing a surprise for a loved one. You've poured in hours of effort, care, and dedication, visualizing the perfect outcome. But as the day approaches, anxiety starts creeping in. What if your boss doesn't like the presentation? What if you don't hit your goal time during the race? What if your surprise doesn't land the way you hoped? Before you know it, your mind is consumed by worry over results you can't fully control. Sound familiar? This tendency to fixate on outcomes is something most of us struggle with. We attach so much of our happiness, self-worth, or sense of success to whether things turn out exactly as we imagined. And when we're overly attached to results, life becomes a constant roller coaster of anxiety, disappointment, and frustration. The Stoics recognized this trap thousands of years ago, which is why they urged us to shift our focus from obsessing over outcomes to dedicating ourselves to the effort itself. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, offers us profound advice on this topic. In his Meditations he writes, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This is a reminder that outcomes, no matter how much we prepare or plan, are ultimately influenced by countless external factors beyond our control. What is within our control, however, is the effort we put in, the time, energy, and intention we bring to the process. By focusing on doing our best rather than fixating on the result, we can free ourselves from the unnecessary stress of trying to control the uncontrollable. Let's go back to the example of preparing a big presentation at work. While you can control how much research and practice you put in, you can't control your boss's mood that day, the reaction of the audience, or technical glitches with your slides. Now imagine you approach this situation with a Stoic mindset. You focus on crafting the best presentation you're capable of delivering, and you let go of the need to achieve a specific reaction. Whether your boss is thrilled, indifferent, or critical, you can walk away knowing that you showed up and gave your best effort. This sense of detachment from the outcome doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've chosen to direct your energy toward what's within your power, sparing yourself unnecessary anxiety. The same principle applies to personal goals. Suppose you're training for a marathon and aiming for a specific finish time. The Stoic approach would involve committing fully to your training, showing up every day, pushing yourself, and enjoying the process. But when race day arrives, you recognize that certain factors, like weather or how your body feels that morning, are out of your hands. By detaching from the outcome and embracing the process, you can still feel a sense of accomplishment, whether or not you hit your target time. This mindset of focusing on effort rather than results not only reduces stress, but also helps us develop a healthier relationship with failure. When we're overly attached to outcomes, failure feels catastrophic. It makes us doubt our abilities, our worth, and even our purpose. But when we measure success by the effort we've put in rather than the result, failure becomes a teacher instead of a source of shame. It shows us where we can grow, adapt, and improve without undermining our confidence. So, how do you start practicing this kind of detachment? Begin by asking yourself, am I overly attached to a specific outcome? What part of this situation is within my control and what isn't? By separating these two, you can focus your energy where it's most effective on your actions, not external results. When you do this, you might find that the process itself becomes more enjoyable, less burdened by the pressure of achieving something specific. The Stoics teach us that peace doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from releasing the need to control what we can't. So the next time you find yourself stressing over an uncertain outcome, remember Marcus Aurelius's wisdom. Focus on your effort, let go of the rest, and trust that whatever happens, you'll have done your part. What goal in your life could you approach with this kind of detachment, and how much lighter might you feel by doing so? Have you ever noticed how small things appear when you view them from above? Imagine standing on the ground in the middle of a bustling city. Everything feels loud, chaotic, and overwhelming: cars honking, crowds rushing, noise and commotion everywhere. But if you were to rise above it all, say, in a helicopter or an airplane, you'd see the same city from a completely different perspective. From up there, the chaos fades and it all looks smaller, more manageable. The honking cars become tiny, silent dots. The people rushing around seem like barely noticeable movements. By simply changing your vantage point, the overwhelming becomes insignificant. This is the power of perspective, a practice the Stoics considered essential for navigating life's challenges with clarity and calm. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations often wrote about the importance of gaining perspective. One of his most famous exercises is to view things as if from above. He advises imagining yourself stepping back, far back, and looking at your life and its problems from a broad, distant view. When you do this, many of the things that feel urgent or stressful in the moment suddenly shrink in importance. That looming deadline at work, the argument with a friend, the frustration over a delayed flight, none of these feel as overwhelming when you remind yourself of how small they are in the grand scheme of life. Let's take a common example. You have a big deadline coming up at work, and the stress is making you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. It's tempting to spiral into panic, thinking, this is everything. If I don't nail this, it's all over. But applying the Stoic practice of perspective could transform how you see the situation. Imagine zooming out like Marcus Aurelius suggests. Picture yourself from above, not just sitting at your desk, but as part of your entire life. Think about how this deadline, significant as it feels now, is just one moment among many. Will this task matter to you a year from now, 5 years? Will you even remember it in a decade? Often, the answer is no, and this realization can help ease the pressure you're putting on yourself. Marcus would also remind us to zoom out even further. He would encourage imagining your place in the vast scope of humanity. Think about all the people across the world, each with their own challenges, deadlines, and hopes. And beyond that, consider the scale of time itself. Billions of years of history have come before you, and billions more will come after. Against that cosmic scale, the stress you feel now begins to seem much smaller. Now, this isn't about invalidating your struggles or dismissing the importance of your responsibilities. Deadlines, arguments, and setbacks are real, and they do matter. But gaining perspective allows you to approach these challenges with a sense of proportion. It helps you recognize that while they're real, they're not as all-encompassing as they might feel in the heat of the moment. You can apply this same exercise to emotional situations, like conflicts with loved ones. Imagine you've had a disagreement with a close friend. The intensity of the moment might make it feel like the relationship is in jeopardy, but zooming out can offer clarity. Ask yourself, will this argument truly matter in the long run? Is this something that defines your relationship, or is it just a fleeting moment of tension? What's more important, being right in this situation or preserving the bond you share? A broader perspective often reveals answers that are hard to see when emotions are running high. The beauty of this practice is that it's quick and accessible. The next time you feel overwhelmed, whether by stress, anger, or fear, pause for a moment. Picture yourself taking a step back, like a bird flying higher and higher. Visualize your problems shrinking as the view widens, and remind yourself of the bigger picture. This simple shift can transform the way you approach challenges, helping you respond with calm and wisdom rather than panic or frustration. Remember, perspective doesn't make problems disappear. It helps you see them for what they are, manageable pieces of a much larger journey. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have the power to rise above and see the whole picture. So, the next time you're caught in the storm of life's stresses, let yourself zoom out. You might just find that the storm is smaller than it seems. Discipline is the foundation upon which mastery over life's chaos is built. Without it, we're like a ship adrift in a storm, tossed around by every impulse, distraction, or fleeting desire. But with self-discipline, we become the captain of that ship, steering it steadily, regardless of how turbulent the waters around us might be. The Stoics understood this deeply, and they saw discipline not as a means of restriction, but as a path to freedom, a way to build the inner strength needed to face challenges calmly and with purpose. Seneca often emphasized the importance of habitual practice in cultivating self-discipline. He believed that our ability to act with intention, rather than being controlled by whims or external circumstances, was like a muscle that grew stronger the more we trained it. In one of his letters, he wrote, "Throw yourself into some work that will engage your attention and make you feel that you have done something." For the Stoics, self-discipline wasn't about grand, dramatic gestures. It was about the small, consistent acts that shape who you are over time. Let's consider how this works. Self-discipline helps you take control of your actions, guiding them toward what truly matters, even when distractions or temptations threaten to pull you off course. When you commit to mastering discipline, you create a sense of order within yourself, even if the world around you feels chaotic. For example, think about a time when life felt overwhelming. Perhaps you were juggling multiple responsibilities, and it seemed like there was simply too much to handle. In those moments, a lack of discipline might lead to procrastination or impulsive choices, adding to the sense of chaos. But with discipline, you can break that chaos into manageable pieces, tackling one task at a time with focus and persistence. One practical way to start building self-discipline is by setting small, achievable daily goals. These goals act like stepping stones, gradually strengthening your willpower and reinforcing a sense of accomplishment. For instance, you might decide to wake up 30 minutes earlier each day to meditate, exercise, or plan your day. At first, this might feel difficult. Your body and mind will naturally resist the unfamiliar discomfort. But as you stick to this habit, even when it's challenging, you'll notice something remarkable. You're no longer just waking up earlier, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of following through on your intentions. That kind of self-trust is transformative, both for your confidence and your ability to stay calm when life gets tough. Another technique is practicing delayed gratification. In today's world of instant rewards, where a craving can be satisfied with the tap of a screen or the touch of a button, pausing to resist immediate impulses can feel unnatural at first. But it's an incredibly powerful way to cultivate discipline. Start small. The next time you feel the urge to scroll through your phone or indulge in a treat, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this serving my long-term goals or just a fleeting desire? Simply practicing that moment of restraint, even if you ultimately choose to indulge, helps strengthen your ability to pause before acting impulsively, a skill that builds incredible inner strength over time. Seneca also highlighted the role of consistency in developing discipline. He reminded us that doing something once isn't enough. It's the repetition of an act, even when it feels tedious, that solidifies it as part of who you are. Think about an athlete training for a marathon. They don't simply run when they feel motivated or conditions are perfect. They show up every day, rain or shine, because they know mastery comes from consistent effort. The same applies to self-discipline. Whether it's committing to a healthier lifestyle, learning a new skill, or staying patient in moments of frustration, the more consistently you practice, the stronger your discipline becomes. By developing self-discipline, you're not just building better habits, you're cultivating the ability to remain steady and composed in the face of life's challenges. Each small act of discipline reinforces your inner strength, proving to yourself that you can handle discomfort and remain in control of your actions. And that, in turn, brings a sense of calm even amid the chaos. So, what's one small habit you could commit to today? Whether it's setting a daily intention, resisting a minor temptation, or simply sticking to something you know is good for you, remember, each disciplined act is a step toward mastering life's uncertainties. As you strengthen your willpower, you'll find that the chaos of the world has less and less power over you because you've built a strong, steady center within yourself. Life is unpredictable. That's the only thing we can truly count on. Plans change, circumstances shift, and sometimes events happen that we never could have anticipated. Maybe it's a career opportunity that didn't pan out, an unexpected move to a new city, or a change in a relationship you thought was unshakable. These moments of upheaval can leave us feeling lost, frustrated, or even paralyzed. But the Stoics teach us a profound truth. Change is not something to resist or fear. It's something to embrace. After all, as Epictetus reminds us, nothing is constant but change. The faster we accept that change is inevitable, the more fluidly we can adapt and even thrive in the face of it. Adaptability is one of the most important skills we can develop, because when it comes down to it, rigidity only creates suffering. Think about a tree in the middle of a storm. If it refuses to bend with the wind, its branches snap. But a flexible tree, one that sways and bends, weathers the storm and stands tall afterward. The same principle applies to us. When we cling too tightly to what we think life should look like, we miss the opportunities that can arise when life unfolds differently than we expected. By flowing with change rather than fighting against it, we open ourselves to growth and new possibilities. The Stoics understood this perfectly. For them, adaptability wasn't about being passive or indifferent. It was about being resourceful and resilient. Marcus Aurelius, for example, recognized that life is filled with curveballs. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." In other words, while we can't control the changes life throws our way, we can control how we respond to them. Let's bring this idea to life with a practical example. Imagine you've just lost a major client at work, and the stability you've relied on suddenly feels shaky. It's easy to spiral into worry or get stuck mourning the loss of what was. But from a Stoic perspective, this is an opportunity to reassess. What can I learn from this? How can I use this challenge to grow? Maybe losing that client frees up time to pursue an entirely new direction, one that ultimately brings you more fulfillment. Maybe it pushes you to refine your skills or innovate in a way you wouldn't have otherwise. By embracing the change instead of resisting it, you turn what feels like a setback into a stepping stone. Now, how can we start building adaptability into our daily lives? One simple exercise is to practice reframing unexpected changes as opportunities. Start by identifying a change you're resisting, something that feels like a disruption or obstacle. Then ask yourself, what potential good could come from this? What skills might I develop? What doors might this open that I couldn't see before? Writing these thoughts down can help shift your mindset from one of resistance to curiosity and acceptance. Another practice is to intentionally step out of your comfort zone. The more you expose yourself to small, manageable changes, the more comfortable you become with adapting to larger ones. For example, try taking a different route to work, learning a new skill, or rearranging your daily routine. These small shifts strengthen your mental flexibility, preparing you to handle life's bigger changes with greater ease. It's also helpful to remind yourself that many of the greatest breakthroughs in life happen because of change, not in spite of it. Think of how many times an unexpected event, whether it seemed positive or negative initially, ended up leading you to something better. Change is often the catalyst for growth, creativity, and transformation. The Stoics would tell you to trust in that process, even when the road ahead feels uncertain. So the next time life throws you an unexpected twist, pause and remind yourself of Epictetus's words. Nothing is constant but change. Instead of resisting, lean in. Ask yourself, how can I adapt? What can I learn? Where can this lead me? By embracing change and flowing with it, you don't just survive life's storms, you grow stronger, wiser, and more capable with every shift. And in the end, isn't that what life is all about? Life is unpredictable, full of twists, challenges, and moments of uncertainty. But as we've explored in this video, the chaos of life doesn't have to overwhelm us. The beauty of Stoic philosophy lies in its timeless practicality. It's not about avoiding the storms of life, but learning how to navigate them with grace, resilience, and clarity. By embracing strategies like focusing on what we can control, practicing resilience through discomfort, cultivating presence, and reframing adversity, we gain the tools to weather whatever life throws our way. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're actionable steps that can transform the way we approach both everyday stress and life's bigger challenges. The Stoics understood that while we can't control external events, we can control our mindset and our actions. This empowerment comes from within, and the more we align ourselves with this principle, the more peace we'll find amid the chaos. As Marcus Aurelius famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. These words are not just inspiration, they're a reminder of the immense influence we have over our inner world, even when the outer world feels unpredictable. Think about the strategies we've covered today, embracing the dichotomy of control, using practices like negative visualization to strengthen our resilience, and anchoring ourselves in the present moment. Each of these is a building block toward a calmer, more intentional life. When you accept what's beyond your control, you free yourself from unnecessary stress. When you face challenges with curiosity rather than resistance, you grow stronger. And when you return to the present moment, you realize that peace is always within reach, right here, right now. But philosophy isn't something we simply think about. It's something we live. So, here's a reflective prompt for you. Which of these Stoic strategies resonates most with you? Is there one that feels particularly relevant to a challenge you're facing right now? Perhaps it's letting go of something outside of your control or taking a pause before reacting in a tense situation. Whatever it is, I invite you to try applying it today, even in a small way. See how it shifts your perspective and brings a sense of calm and intentionality to your day. If you found these ideas helpful, let's continue this conversation. Share your thoughts in the comments. What's one Stoic principle you're curious to try in your own life? Or maybe you've already applied Stoicism in a meaningful way. Share your experience so others can learn from it too. Don't forget to like this video if it inspired you, and consider subscribing for more content that supports your journey to living a calmer, more resilient life. Remember, Stoicism isn't just about enduring chaos, it's about thriving within it. With these tools at your side, you have everything you need to navigate life's challenges with strength, wisdom, and peace. So, start with one strategy today and take that first step toward building a life filled with clarity and purpose. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.